Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bobby, and today's lesson should be fun. It's certainly off the beaten path. And to get into this, I want to tell you a little story from about the age of 20 when I first started playing golf. My girlfriend was a golfer, and she was actually fantastic. She went on to play college golf at William & Mary. I was 20 years old. She was 18. She was still a senior in high school. But she introduced me to the game and was nice enough to go out and take me to play. And after 9 holes one time, I'd been playing less than a month. I went in to use the bathroom. She stayed in the car. I'll be right back. So I'm coming back, and just as I'm coming out of the bathroom, I see some man had pulled up next to her in his golf cart. And he said, "Hey, Jenny, I see you had some chop with you, teeing off a couple of hours ago. Who was that guy?" And she turned around and looked and saw me coming. She said, "Oh, that's my boyfriend, Bobby. I'd like you to meet Bernie Miller." Bernie Miller, Bobby. Yeah, we shook hands, and he drove away. And I said, "That guy called me a chop? What's a chop?" She said, "Oh, that's like a new golfer, someone who's not very good." And I'm like, "No, seriously," because I'm thinking the word means like, stud muffin or something. I said, "No, seriously, what's chop mean?" She goes, "That's it. It means a really bad golfer." I'm like, "You're kidding me. That guy just called me a bad golfer and you knew who he was talking about?" Well, you knew, it's just hard to hide it. And the thing was I had hit my best drive of my life off of number 1, but now I understand exactly what he's talking about. It doesn't matter the quality of shots you hit in the beginning. If you're a beginner player, you have some beginner nuances that you just can't shake. And the purpose of today's video is I want to go over those nuances in case you're a beginner player and you want to fit in right away. You want to do things right. You want to do things in such a way that at least it doesn't scream to the world that you're a beginner, and this should be fun. All right, and so let's talk first about carrying your golf bag. This is the way a beginner carries their golf bag, with the clubs behind them. This just seems to make sense to them. But the thing's all out of balance, and as you walk, this thing will start to get toward the horizontal, and you'll eventually lose your golf club. The way to do this instead is to put them in front and walk with them. Most people will hang their arm here and do their thing and walk with them. They're very comfortable, very balanced right there. The other thing is just the manner in which you scoop this thing off the ground. Now look how long it takes me to put this thing over my shoulder. I'm gone. All right, if you fumble around with that thing and you look at it like, oh, this one's different than mine, I wonder how, no, they're all the same. All right, just find the strap and go for it and take that thing with you. Now, it gets to the all-important matter of teeing the ball. If you want to look like you've got some idea what you're doing, you've got to learn to tee this ball with one hand. And what I mean by that is the beginner likes to take this peg with a left hand, stick it in the ground, what they hope to be vertical, and then see if they can get this golf ball to sit right on top of it. And then they're always real surprised when it stays. Instead, what you want to do is put this on the very end, the last knuckle of these 2 fingers. It's your peace sign fingers. And you're going to put it there, and from here, we're just going to take our arm vertically. All right, the arm is straight, and I am just going to get above it. Look at this. Whichever hand is forward that I'm using, my right hand, my right leg is forward. I'm not crouching here. That's a beginner move. All right, I'm going to put this leg in front, keep it more or less straight, and then bend. My entire arm and shoulder are over that ball. All right, I'm not beside it trying to, perform magic from the side. I'm directly over it, and that's the way you tee the ball. And it should all be in one move, and boom, you're done. If you're really cool, and this is for the scratch players who want to look like that, you'll see some people, and trust me, this is just effect. This does nothing. They will act like, oh, they want it just a little bit lower, and so they'll tap it ever so slightly. You're not going to be able to hammer that thing in there, but they show that they've got control by giving a little tap, just to move it in a little bit farther. If you want to be really cool, that's what you do. All right, now, when waiting your turn, the better player, the more confident player, looks like this. You don't crouch to bait. Regardless of the point to observe here is that this club is touching the ground and I've got my hand on top of it. It might be here, but my hand's on the top of it and it's touching the ground. The beginner looks like this. They're kind of waiting. They don't trust it. They're afraid this thing's going to get away. They're not confident. So they're just holding onto it with both hands and keeping it suspended above the ground. Learn to balance that thing with your palm in the ground. You don't have to put a lot of weight on it because the shaft will break if you put too much weight on it. But right there is the manner in which you should stand. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the stance and walking up to the golf ball. A beginner player will always, think of it like a microscope. On a microscope, you have 2 knobs. You have your coarse adjustment, and then you have your fine adjustment. Coarse adjustment gets you close to focus, and then once you get pretty close with that thing, you use your fine tune adjustment to really focus whatever it is you're looking at in. So coarse to get you close, fine to get you really close. It's the same thing with the stance. A beginner will just put their feet out here, boom, boom, course adjustment. They're set, they're fine with that. They've stuck them about where they want them, and it's almost as if they're preparing a stance to lift a piano or something, or like someone's about to tackle them. All right, they're digging in. The better player will put their feet, they don't stomp with either foot, they'll place each foot, and then they will use the fine-tune adjustment knob. Eighth of an inch, eighth of an inch, eighth of an inch, finding exactly where they want to be. That is the appearance of the better player. They are just searching for that perfect spot, and when they find it, that's when they make their swing. As I say, the beginner is already there, and there's going to be no more adjustment. And so be cool and use the fine adjustment tool and move your feet just so to get yourself positioned. And then there's one last thing that I can think of right now, and I can just see by the walk of somebody. When they're walking from the parking lot, I can tell you whether they're a beginner or an experienced player. The better player tends to keep their visions between middle height and down. They're looking here and down, and they walk slower. The lesser player tends to have their vision somewhere between middle and up, and they walk faster. All right, and so again, they're afraid they're going to miss something. They're afraid they're going to miss their tee time, and they're not going to be in the right spot or everything. So they've got their eyes way up, and they're walking fast. Slow down, be cool, and look like you've been there before. And so those are the high points. You know, you laugh when you say some of those things, but it's true. If there's 10 people walking by and you said, "Hey, Bobby, which one of those is a brand new golfer? Pick them out." I would get that right every single time. But not just me. Anybody with an experienced eye for that could as well. And so if you're a new player, think about those things. Those are things that wouldn't automatically leap to your mind. And so I hope that is helpful. I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.